Assalamualaikum. Hi everyone. So today we are going to look into our chapter 7, the heuristic information analytics. So the heuristic information actually have been discussed in our chapter 1, but into this topic we are looking into the models on how can be heuristic information to be can be analyzed. Okay, actually an heuristic information analytics is a problem-solving approach that uses experience-based technique to make educated guesses and also draw conclusions from the data. And of course, it involves using shortcut of rules of thumb to quickly efficiently analyze information rather than relying solely on complex algorithm. And also, essentially, it's a way of using your own knowledge and intuition to make sense of the data and draw insights. And for your recall, or to remind you back what is heuristic information, for example, when you look into the traffic light, you will already know, okay, red for stop, green for go, and while the yellow is ready to stop. So that is the heuristic information. So now is the analytics one. And commonly, people will do the association analysis. It's a data mining technique. They dig up all the data and then try to discover relationship and pattern between variables in a large data set. They wanted to see the relationship between data, which is the results of the data mining technique. For example, a data set of customer transaction records at a retail store can be used to mine association rules, which can then be used to suggest complementary or related products to customers. So this is what being done by the Walt Disney when they use the, I would say, it's like a watch. Actually, it's a data watch whereby all the customers registration for the theme park already been recorded in their system when they are registering to come to the park. So as a pattern of complimentary gift or complimentary service to the customer, they already know what the preferences of the customer that come to the theme park, so they can be prepared of what the customers want, and at that point the company can provide a very personalized service as what preferred by the customer. So this is what we call as the association analysis. Next one is the generalized rule induction. It's actually machine learning technique used to find patterns and rules in data, and usually it is used to predict the success rate, ataupun it is used to predict something, to forecast something, to by the existence of the pattern recognition. And of course, data mining and predictive analytics also part of the generalized rule induction. You can see example here, predicting the success rates of a marketing campaign based on customer demographic and past campaign performance. So they will identify the patterns and rule in the data, and then uh, the model can use to chain prediction, and also being used to recommend you with previous patterns of data so that it helps you to make prediction and do the decision making. So that is what we call as generalized rule induction, the GRI. Another model that being used to analyze data is a priori model, popular algorithm for association rule mining in data mining and machine learning. And it's starting with the identification of individual items and gradually combining them into larger item sets to identify frequent patterns. And for your information, all the models that we are talking in this chapter 7 is actually how the data relationship being analyzed, and then how they can analyze the data so that it can provide us with patterns of data. This pattern show us the behavior of the data. As you can see the example here, data sets of customer transaction records at a grocery store can be used to mine association rules, which can then be used to suggest complementary or related products to the customer. Same goes with the previous one. And next one is the karma, the continuous time auto-regressive moving average model. The name is quite complicated, but it is a model of statistical modeling framework also but used for time series analysis. As for example, this model is to predict the number of daily visitors to a tourist attraction based on the weather condition and historical visitor data. So that's why it is focusing on the time series. They wanted to see, okay, on what month people will come to the Walt Disney Park more than the other month. So the karma will help them to identify the pattern of the data, the behavior of the customers' data, to help the company in strategizing their plan. Another model that also being used is a sequence model. This is used to also to predict or generating sequence of data, and they take input of data such as sentence or a time of series and outputs a corresponding sequence of prediction. I would like to show certain example like this. An example of sequence model is in predicting the next word in a sentence based on the preceding words. As I would say, you in our era now is the AI. They already know what you wanted to ask them. You ask them a question and they know the answer. Another model of analysis is the clustering analysis, also machine learning technique, and used to group similar data points together based on their characteristics. They will collect these similar data characteristics together in one basis. For example, segmenting customer based on their purchasing behavior of a retail company. Another model is the decision tree, also a machine learning algorithm for classification and regression tasks. And usually this is useful to solve complex and nonlinear problems that can be used in a wide range of applications, including medicine, finance, and marketing. For example, you can see here, the decision tree can help whether a passenger will survive the Titanic disaster based on their demographics such as age, gender, and class. So the decision tree is actually also to see uh, whether a prediction on possible outcomes and consequences of the data that we analyze so that it can support our decision making again. And the next one is the C5.0, also a machine learning algorithm, and it is designed to be accurate and able to handle large data sets. And actually, it's also a predicting tool whereby it can help to create a decision model for us to support our decision making. For example, and you can see here, the data sets of historical customer data and their corresponding churn status can be used to train a C5.0 model, which can then be used to predict the likelihood of a new customer churning based on their features. Okay, and commonly this model can also be used to identify the most important factors that contribute to customer churn, such as low satisfaction score, high monthly bills, and poor network quality. And I would like to relate this with our telco company. So actually C5.0 can be used to see the pattern of, let's say, hotline users, the Nexus users. What are their behavior, at what month or at what date they will always top up their credit, and what are the main purpose of their using the credits. Is it for the data, is it for gaming, is it for social media only? So these are the software or tools that can be used. Next one is the logistic regression, and commonly it's also a machine learning algorithm, and it uses a logistic function to model the relationship between input feature and the probability of the binary outcome. And it is usually used widely in various fields to its simplicity and interpretability. And it can also be used for feature selection and regularization to improve model performance. While in linear regression, also a machine learning algorithm used to predict continuous output variable based on one or more input features. And we will look at the example. An example of linear regression is in predicting the price of a house based on its size in square feet. So it also helps you to do estimation, to do estimation on the data that you have and provide you with recommendation so that it helps you though in your decision making. Another one is support vector machine. Support vector machine is also machine learning algorithm for classification and regression tasks, similarly like the C5.0. For example, it can be trained on a data set of labeled animal images such as dogs and cats, and then used to classify new images as either dogs or cats based on their feature such as color, texture, or shape. And these are the example of the SVM. And I would relate this with our AI now, the SVM, the machine learning algorithm also, the AI machine. Whereby from your prompt, from your text or sentence, the AI machine will generate, for example, like pictures as what you have described in the prompt, something that you can suggest the system to generate for you, like videos, like pictures, like text information, and so on. Another analysis that we use is segmentation analysis. Commonly, it is used by marketers in their marketing strategy to divide market into smaller segments. Okay, for example, we segmentize them into demographic, segmentize them into social status. We segmentize the users or the customers based on their incomes, for example. And the next one is the use of k-means. It's a clustering algorithm that groups similar data points together based on their distance from the centroid, and is commonly used for customer segmentation. As you can see the example here, a retail company may use k-means to group customers into clusters based on their age, gender, and shopping habits. Just like the previous one, I would say similar to the segmentation analysis, but this is using the means, the k-means. We have also cohorten, also known as the self-organizing maps, which is a type of unsupervised machine learning algorithm used to cluster and visualize high-dimension data. And we look into the example. A news organization may use cohorten to group news articles into clusters based on their topics and language. Then use this information to analyze trends and generate insight. So they cluster the first. So they classify the similar topics under similar topics, and then they analyze the trends and generate new knowledge based on those data. And the next tool is also two steps. Two-step is a clustering algorithm, and bank may use two-step to identify fraudulent transaction by grouping similar transactions based on the amount, time, and location, and then flagging those that deviate significantly from the normal pattern. So people who are having abnormal pattern will be considered as the outliers of the financial transaction. So nak cerita mungkin dia lah pencuri ni. Anomaly detection also sama macam tadi, macam two steps juga, the outliers ataupun unusual patterns. Okay, some things that is awkward hari ni, so that is the anomaly detection. For example, an e-commerce website may use anomaly detection to identify suspicious pattern on customer behavior, such as unusual purchase, the login attempts, and so on. Time series analysis is also to use to analyze and forecast time-dependent data. As for example, in this case, I would say a simpler case is like on Christmas time, what was being purchased, what will be purchased more than other products. So based on the data, based on the time frame, you can see what are the most purchased items during Christmas event, for example. And that will be all for chapter 7. Thank you.